Sometimes I wonder why I wait so long to try a fan favorite. Well, this is one of those times. Monteverde is one of those Jaffa brand inks that has more colors than you can shake a stick at. That's one of the reasons that I haven't done what I did with Pelikan and do a full brand review. Also, it makes it really easy for me to overlook some of the fan favorites, or really good finds in that case. In my case, it also makes it easy for me to drag my heels on trying to crowd favorites because I'm horrible with names, and some of them just blend in with the field of colors that are there. Thankfully, this isn't one of those times, and we're going to take a look at California Teal. Recently on the channel, with the exception of a rare bottle, I've gotten away from looking at the ink containers. Part of that has to do with the fact that I was trying to do a TLDW and fit that into the script. Well, I've decided to junk that, at least for this video, and just sneak in the cheeky subtitle here and there. Anyways, look at this bottle. It's simple, it's glass, and it gives you an idea of the color inside. It has a nice metal cap that can create a really good seal, and for me, it's super easy to organize on the shelf because, well, hey, it's rectangle. For a budget 30ml ink, it ticks all the boxes that I look for on the exterior, and with that good start, let's take a look at what's inside. Looking at the ink blot, I can already tell that I'm going to like having this in the collection. It reminds me a lot of the original Tampa Bay Devil Ray jerseys, and under the right light, this is a very bold ink. One thing they definitely got right on the name was teal. On the right, the lighter shades definitely contain more of the bluish sides of teal and kind of border on Jello salad green. Once we go over to the left though, that's where we start to get one of my favorite states. You know by now that I'm all about those transition tones, and this time is no different. I like the vibrant teal on display that transitions into nice deeper green tones, and it then crosses over into a nice complementary sheen. You know, we're gonna have to see if we get that when we move over to the writing sample. Before we get there though, let's take a look at the other performance indicators on display. First up, we have dry time. On Rhodia, if you ignore me being sloppy when swiping the 5-second test, this ink is dry in under 10 seconds, from a stub nib on the thin edge. And when we move on over to Tomoe, we are slower, but not too bad. Sub 20-second dry time with these inks out of a wet nib is still pretty good performance. I mean, I'd like to see it a little bit more consistent between the two papers, but with what we got here, I'm actually pretty happy. The other performance indicator is water performance, and with this ink, once we get some water on the page, it's not looking good. The color lift definitely looks substantial, and that is confirmed the second we dry the page. All that is left is a faint neon green layer that is difficult to recover at best. Of all the behaviors of this ink, this is really the only letdown for me. No look at an ink though would be complete without a writing sample, so let's go ahead and break out the Kaweco Sport and see how California Teal looks on both Rhodia and TR. First up is Rhodia. You caught a glimpse of this when we took a look at the dry times, but on this writing sample, some of the underlying factors of that dry time become apparent. First thing first, the ITF technology that Jaffa employs here is probably a good thing because this is a dry ink, especially in combination with Rhodia. The lubrication is there, and luckily for us, that also carries over into working with the feed to provide just enough flow to stay out of trouble. Keywords there are just enough. If the ITF technology wasn't at play, I could easily see this ink having flow issues and causing skipping and hard starts all over the place. As it is, I like the look that we're getting here on Rhodia, and out of this stub nib, we're spending more time in the transition tones than not, and on this paper, we're also getting more of the greens from this ink than the blues. I may be in the minority on this one, but I like teals that are not afraid to rock heavy greens, like this one. Now let's take a look at what we get on Tomoe. While the colors feel more bold on Rhodia, they feel smoother and more consistent here on TR. I know the smooth look of the ink is going to come primarily from the texture of the paper itself, but it's more noticeable with this ink than it is on some of the other ones we've taken a look at. Also, California Teal is taking on more of the underlying blues in the teal in its overall display. And a major note, especially for us slower writers, is going to be the lessening of the overall dynamics of the ink. You can see here that unlike on Rhodia, where we bordered into Jello salad every once in a while, we really don't see that here. Out of a fat nib, you are going to be looking at low mids and sub bass for the majority of your TR mix. It's not a bad thing, and in fact I actually prefer it with this ink, but it is definitely something that you are going to want to keep of note if you are new to this ink. With it being a community favorite though, I wonder how many of you really are going to be like me and be new to it, or have already tried it and are wondering why I'm just now getting around to it. I'm actually curious to find out. But that's going to do it for our quick look at Monteverde, California teal. If you like the video, hit that thumbs up, subscribe if you haven't, and become a patron if you want to contribute to the dog treat and coffee fund. Till next time, don't drink the ink.